The WNBA, listen to this. Owners are mad. They're furious. They're tired of it. The WNBA lost $40 million this year. That's right. They lost $40 million. Now, I just want you to think about it.
No matter how great you were as a player, Cheryl Swoops, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark is doing for the game. I know the Monica McNutts and others were getting very, very frustrated at all of the buzz that was going in her direction, not to hate on Caitlin Clark in any way, because I'm sure Monica McNutt does not feel that way. She just knows that there were people on the ground pounding the pavement that were doing so much for women's basketball everywhere that deserve.
Professionals are damaging Caitlin Clark tracking word of her WNBA leaving. The first overall choice in the 2024 WNBA from Iowa, Caitlin Clark had a rookie season that caused waves in the league. She was a scoring monster, dropping an average of 19.2 points per game, leading the league with 8.4 assists and collecting 5.7 rebounds per game on top of that. She broke 11 new league records. Yet, even with those incredible figures, her win as Rookie of the Year wasn't exactly smooth. She didn't get a unanimous vote. 66 out of 67 panelists chose her. Angel Reese from the Chicago Sky.
Caitlin Clark wins the Rookie of the Year. There was one vote for Angel Reese, everybody else for Caitlin Clark. This is what's happening, is the voters are now putting out on social media, hey, it wasn't me. Hey, it wasn't me. Hey, it wasn't me. I don't know if somebody comes out and says, hey, I voted for Angel Reese, which it is your, that's your prerogative. You can. I mean, I've voted and had people criticize my votes, but I had no problem telling people. I mean, I was proud to be a voter in the NBA. And if you want to be critical of me, that's okay. I have, my defense there. Somebody thinks Angel Reese was the Rookie of the Year. Fine. Maybe it's a writer who covered her team in Chicago. Okay. It's not the end of the world. Like, I don't know if Caitlin Clark's going to go, can you believe I didn't go unanimous? Now, I thought we would have unanimous MVP and unanimous Rookie of the Year. You got that with Asia Wilson, but Caitlin Clark all but won, and I don't think it's going to ruin her summer. I don't. But it feels like all these voters are like, wasn't me.
WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops, who first expressed concerns about Clark's Rookie of the Year credentials. Clearly, she wasn't. Part of the voting process, once the dust settled with all this fans are pointing out, the league does not value the degree of eyes that Clark has brought in her rookie season. She could just go where she is appreciated and paid better.
And I'm a WNBA fan.
It's been a good season.
They cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried. If you got people in a room,
yeah.
If you got a bunch of dudes in a room and says, let's the WNBA, we couldn't have came up a master plan what these women have done. This girl is incredible. What she did in college for women's basketball, what she's doing in the WNBA.
She turned the Fever, were 1-8. They have a winning record now.
But the number of attention, eyeballs she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness, you say to yourself, damn, what is going on here?
Strong rumors suggest Caitlin Clark, fresh off a record-breaking debut season, could be the next to go. There are strong rumors suggesting she could be leaving the WNBA to play internationally, potentially for a bigger paycheck and more playing opportunities. Now, the WNBA, despite its growing popularity, offers nowhere near the pay the NBA does. Next voice.
I don't know about you, but I'd be an owner that'd be like, ladies, shut up and dribble. Actually, it wouldn't be shut up and dribble. It'd be shut up and turn a profit. Get in this together. Quit being dumbasses. Quit being your typical, egotistical, selfish selves. That's what I would be, but hey, that's just me. NBA team owners want to see a return on their investment in the WNBA. They're frustrated. The WNBA owes the NBA so much, we won't see any windfall for years. but the entitlement. Think about this, ladies. Do you want equal treatment or do you want equal but special treatment? Now, we all know the answer to that. The great show 30 Rock talks about that when they eliminate DEI and Tracy Jordan has to be treated like everybody else. He's like, no. It's the funniest stuff ever. So what do you want? I know what you want. You want equal but special. Well, you're getting it, and good for you.
Some are criticizing Clark, stating that if she goes, it'll limit the league's momentum, especially when it's depending on star power to pull in more viewers. They refer to her as a critical face of the WNBA's future. A future they worry may be cut short if she decides to pack her.
WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season. But with all of the drama currently surrounding the WNBA, on top of the low-paying salaries, some of these players are questioning if they'll even... Guys, I'm Rachel Demita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. Unrivaled kicks off its inaugural season this weekend, and honestly, you guys, there is so much hype around this league, and it has been so interesting to see what they have been posting and what the players who are playing in Unrivaled have to say about the league. If you guys can hear that, my cat is like tumbling around in her tunnel right now and making all of the noises, so my apologies. Anyway, a quote that stood out to me was something that Alyssa Thomas had to say. So right now, it is obviously off season for the WNBA. It is free agency. There's a lot of rumors about where players are going to go, who's going to stay with their respective teams. And when Alyssa Thomas was asked about free agency, if you guys remember, Alyssa Thomas plays for the Connecticut Sun. This is what she had to say. She said, "I'm focused on Unrivaled right now. They have everything you possibly need here. They don't really have a lot of those things in Connecticut. I've been trying to absorb as much knowledge as I can." So obviously here, it kind of feels like she's throwing Connecticut under the bus a little bit by saying they have everything you possibly need here and they don't have those things in Connecticut. I don't know if that's shade to her current team or if that's shade to the WNBA as a whole, but like Alyssa Thomas, Angel Reese had something similar to say about Unrivaled. When Angel was asked about Unrivaled, she said, "I would stay here forever. Everything I need is here, from massages to cold tubs to being able to have resources to workouts and everything." Now, the league president, Alex Basil, who is also Nafisa Collier's husband, that was kind of the vibe that he said that the league was going for. He said, "We're going to provide daycare services for mothers on arrival. It's everything that the athletes need under one roof when it comes to anything and everything, on court or off court for them." I honestly thought that this was so interesting because we heard throughout the WNBA season how players were complaining about different travel situations, or they were complaining about their practice facility. I believe it was the Chicago Sky who was promised a new practice facility and never got it. So we have heard these complaints with the WNBA, and obviously this past season they started flying private and things started to get better, but it seemed to be something, obviously having the founders of Unrivaled being Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, two WNBA players and two, I would say, veterans in the WNBA. They know what they need. They know what would be great for them. They were able to raise enough money to be able to provide those things for these players. And if you look at some of the photos and videos that they are posting online, like everything looks like it's state-of-the-art equipment. The courts look great. The weight room looks great. They have a little makeup station for them that's sponsored by Sephora where they can do their hair and makeup and things. They have the cold tubs, and it does seem like a great place to be. Like they do have, it's a high-end facility that maybe some of these WNBA teams just don't have. Now, just this week on her podcast, Sue Bird talked about how the WNBA and Unrivaled...
Next voice, so maybe they should learn to appreciate her more after Tall. You don't know what you have until it's gone. It's too soon to say. But Caitlin Clark is definitely at a crossroads. If she stays, she'll continue to be the face of a league that's working hard to rise in popularity. But if she goes, she'll be following in the footsteps of other top talent.
Warn the WNBA, if you want to keep international players, you need to do better. So here's what she had to say.
The W thinks that they don't have to pay us more in order for us to be here. And I think I didn't express that when I first talked about prioritization. You know, our commissioner talked about us being able to, you know, make $700,000. That's not true at all. There's not one player who makes that. And we were promised, team marketing agreements and league marketing agreements, but they've fallen quite short. So it's still not enough for us international players to want to stay here. And that's a choice of the players. If I make a choice to make more money, whatever, and then the teams are mad that I don't come back, but that's how it is. So yes, it just the WNBA, if you want us to be here, you have to pay us more. It's business, it's how it works, and that's about it.
Unrivaled has benefited from the WNBA, the growth in women's basketball in general. It's coming at the exact right time. I mean, sometimes how do you explain when timing's so perfect? It happened the way it happened. But they're really, to their credit, from a business standpoint, making the most. They are capitalizing on this boom. They are capitalizing. You've already mentioned the sponsorships, the partnerships, getting the media deal. All of that, the timing was so perfect. And that's where I do think that Unrivaled and the WNBA can really benefit each other. They're different games. So it's not in direct competition, yet they can do everything you've essentially just listed out, and it'll just continue to raise the profile of both leagues, which I really love.
Now, I talked about it in another video that I think there is so many things that Unrivaled is doing right, and one of the top things that I just love that they're doing, their marketing, their design, their social media presence has been outstanding. They are helping us as fans get to know these different players on a more personal level. We are getting behind the scenes. We are seeing them with their kids. It's just A+ across the board on all of those things when it comes to marketing and getting fans involved. I will agree with Sue Bird on the point that it is the perfect time for Unrivaled, because obviously we have never seen a boom like we saw with the WNBA last season. And a lot of that, like we've talked about on this channel, a lot of that does go to Caitlin Clark, which is why Unrivaled wanted her so bad. And so I agree with Sue on that point. Like, this is the perfect season to do it. You have other superstars who will be in this league that fans will be excited to tune into. However, I disagree with her on the point that, and this might be a hot take, I disagree with her on the point that the WNBA will benefit